So Trump recently went on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I remember Kulinksi saying that Joe Rogan wasn't going to have Trump on because he didn't know enough to fact check him and he didn't want to influence the election. And Kulinksi is he's generally in the past been pretty positive of Rogan. I'm interested to see how he is now, but let's listen to this. It seems like Joe Rogan's just giving him an open platform to basically shill for oil companies.
And we have water, we have mountains, the assets are so enormous. But regardless of that, we've got $35 trillion in debt, we should pay it off. And we would have started paying off debt and probably even given further tax reductions. I want to get it down to 15%. We're going to do more business. But when you get hit with a COVID, everything stops and you have to keep these businesses alive. The businesses were dying. They were just dying. This whole place, this country was going to die.
Are there influences outside of environmental that keep people from wanting to drill for oil and frack and do those sort of things outside of the environmental concerns, which are legitimate, of course?
No, I understand.
But are there other influences that maybe over-accentuate or over-exaggerate these environmental effects? Are people being influenced in a way where they're trying to keep us from producing American oil?
Yeah. So the environmental is the biggest tool for stopping growth, the biggest tool. The other is regulation. And
so they're painting environmentalists in a negative light, indicating that environmentalists are the main reason why we can't have growth. The idea that Joe Rogan's doing this like a little over a week before the election is pretty crazy. People have been very critical of Joe Rogan for a long time, and he's had many defenders. It seems like Joe Rogan made a very calculated decision here to even let Trump on.
If you speak to Elon, he said the regulation now to send a rocket up to anywhere, even if you do everything, it's becoming impossible. But they use environmental in order to get people not to do anything. And sometimes I say, I look at some of I know the environment.
Did you hear that sentence? They use environmental to get people to not do things. Weird sentence, first off, but second off, look at what's happening with these natural disasters. These are some of the same people who are then saying that the Democrats are creating these disasters to try to kill off Republican voters. Aside from the fact that people in Asheville tend to lean more left. But again, framing this whole argument against environmentalists.
Stuff better because I had to build buildings in New York. I had to do environmental impact studies. And I would see some of these guys that I'd hire for a lot of money, environmentalists that would get you through the process. And they'd be up in Albany, that's the capital of New York.